G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through a really powerful wrist stretch. Now the wrist is something that we often don't pay a lot of attention to. It doesn't necessarily get a lot of love in our stretching routines. But this exercise, which we'll get to in a minute, is fantastic for anyone who's had wrist surgery, who has wrist dysfunction, or is an athlete or a professional or someone who uses their wrist a lot. So if you play basketball, if you're a throwing athlete, swimmers, even if you do work on your hands, if you're a gymnast or you do CrossFit or anything like that, it's important that you can have access to more range of motion, particularly because a lot of us, when we're in these sort of postures a lot, our neck gets stiff and we create this wave of tightness that works down to that wrist. So we're going to go through that stretch today. But before we do, if you consider subscribing to the channel, if you like the content, if you're going to like this video, please feel free to leave a like below. It just helps these videos reach more people, and hopefully the information in these videos are really helpful. And I guess the idea behind them, the reason why we do them is because we want to give you actionable pieces of information that you can use to your advantage that work. These conversations that we have are based off of conversations we have in real time with our patients. And this wrist stretch has served me really well for a lot of wrist pain patients, or post-injury, post-wrist injury patients. So basically, to do this stretch, we need a power band, or a band that's got a bit of elasticity to it. So you can use a TheraBand or the TheraTubing, those strong rubber bands that a lot of people have. But a power band is really, really important. It just gives you really good access to the joint stiffness, to the wrist joint stiffness. So I'll leave a link in the description just so you can see what they look like. But if you can get one from any sporting goods store, you can get them online, but they're really, really powerful. So what we want to do here is we want to go after the joint capsule of the wrist. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we went through the banded ankle stretch. So it's a similar stretch for the ankle that we're going to go through for the wrist, but it's a little bit different in some capacities, but it's very, very similar in a lot of other ways. So basically all you need to do with this is we want to put your wrist into the band, and we want to have it just above the crease of your wrist. And we want to have your hand, I'll try and get out of the way here, we want to have your hand on the ground basically. But the key with this is we want your fingers to be pointing in the other direction towards, away from the band. So we're not doing the same direction, we're going the other direction. And all we're doing here is we're putting enough tension on the band so there's some strong resistance. We're blocking the hand so it can't go anywhere, and we're just coming into sort of further extension of that wrist. And what you'll find is when you come into this position, you'll start to feel that you hit that end range. So you have some options. So we can get you to oscillate just gently in and out of that range, just to calmly and gently force that joint to move further. Or what we can do, because the band is so elastic, we can find that end position and we can hang out here for 30 seconds to a minute. Now with any stretch, and you'll see the same thing with the ankle stretch that we went through before, is that we want to get these muscles involved as well. So at the moment, we're biasing the joint stiffness, the joint capsule, which we miss a lot when we're stretching, but we can make this a really powerful exercise by incorporating a muscle stretch at the same time. So what we do here is when we get to that end range position, so for me, I feel a little bit of tightness sort of at the base of the wrist into the forearm up through here. So what I want to do is I want to find that tightness, and then I want to tense it up. So I want to take a deep breath in and then squeeze. So I'm sort of almost gripping the ground with my fingers, trying to get these muscles at the back here to really fire up. I'm going to hold that for about 5 to 10 seconds and then relax. And then without taking the tension off the band, what you should find is you should be able to go a little bit further until you reach a new end point. So for me here, deep breath in, squeeze, so tensing all those muscles in the hand, the wrist and the forearm. And we'll assume that's 5 to 10 seconds, and then I'll relax, and then again, I should be able to get a little bit further through here. So obviously my shoulder's coming across a bit further, but we're more interested in the angle of the wrist, and the angle of the wrist is ever so slightly going further. Now, to change this up a little bit, what we can do is we can wind that wrist up a little bit. So my elbow's sort of pointing off into almost like a 45-degree angle here. I can rotate that around further to really wind up the joint capsule and really put it into a more stable position. So as I twist my elbow back around, I start to feel more tension at the wrist. And then as I come into that stretch again, it hits a slightly different piece of that equation. So for you, like any of these stretches, we want you to play around on different angles. You can lean over towards your little finger, come back towards your thumb a little bit more. Try and find the position that you feel gives you the best access to your stiffness and tightness. And we just want to spend some time here. So as I said, you can oscillate, you can hang out here, you can squeeze, tense and relax at the same time. And once you've done that for about a minute or two, what you should hopefully find is, and we didn't do this to start with, but you should be able to find your range of wrist motion, and you can see that with me, just feels further. That one sort of gets stuck, that one just moves further. So again, the idea with any of these stretches is that we want you to do a bit of a test beforehand, do the exercise, and then retest yourself so that you know something's changed. So with that being said, I hope that helps. Again, none of these exercises should be painful, so if you feel like it hurts to a certain point, just don't go as far into that stretch. You'll still be able to make some positive gains on your range of motion, regardless of sort of what level your pain is. You can just work into that range and it should still make an impact for you. So again, hopefully that's helpful. Again, if you go on to enjoy the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And then until next time, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.